A while ago, man felt dissatisfied, so he said to himself, "Oh, I know. I'll make some devices for myself to keep me entertained and to make life easier to handle. I'll also make these devices available around the world so that other people can buy them and be entertained and relieved of their troubles. People all over the world will be in awe of what I've made, and these devices will be sold by the billions, and I'll reap the profit." Then man felt lonely, so he said to himself, "Oh, I know. I'll take advantage of these new devices I've made, and I'll establish some social platforms and networks to help me feel more connected with others. I'll build these networks up and make them available all over the world so that people will adopt these platforms to feel closer with one another and not so lonely. People all over will be in awe of what I've made, that they will join these platforms by the billions, and I'll reap the profit." Then the deceiver looked upon man's creation and said, "Oh, I know. Now that man has taken it upon himself to satisfy his own dissatisfaction and to quench his own loneliness by making these devices and building these networks, I see no reason for me to seize this critical opportunity. Man has made himself so vulnerable in his state of dissatisfaction. He has created such a vast window of access before the eyes and ears of all God's children. Truly, they really do open wide the gates of their minds and souls to these devices and become witness to everything on these networks. You've made it so easy for me, man. How can I not take advantage of the situation? I shall infect these networks with violence, corruption, immorality, perversion, and hatred. Man will get to know me through these devices. I will show them my chaos and my wickedness. But most of all, I will feed them division, fear, confusion, and lies. After all, what more can I use to keep God's children from knowing their Father other than lies and deception? These things I can use to keep them blind, misinformed, oblivious, and separate from the truth. And so I'll be sure of it. I'll use man's new creation to enter the minds of children and twist the souls of people all over. And maybe, just maybe, I'll make my way into the hearts of many. That's where I can do the most damage and cause massive devastation and destruction. This all works out very well. I've got to hand it to you, man. You've outdone yourself this time. I'm going to use the things you've made in the midst of your dissatisfaction for my ultimate satisfaction. Now my ways will be known and adopted all over the world by the billions, and I'll reap the profit. So what you just heard was a spoken word the Lord gave me back in 2020. It was in the middle of the day when all of a sudden the Lord started downloading this information into my heart, and I felt the urge to write it down. Now, this word is not meant to scare you or be a shame on you message, but I will say that this word is a warning and an attempt to expose the strategy of the enemy and the opportunity that the church originally missed, but still has a chance to redeem before it's too late. Today, anyone who has access to internet has access to basically the entire population, and they can influence them positively or negatively. All of this has come about in the lifespan of 1 century. And since all this technology has been invented, the enemy has fully infiltrated these devices and networks and dominated the entertainment industry and the digital realm. Meanwhile, the church has had its head in the sand, waiting for Jesus to return and put an end to this life. This is the reason why entertainment and media are so corrupt today. It's because the church missed this crucial opportunity to infiltrate this area of mass influence. And so now here we are in this situation all these years later, where Jesus has not yet returned, but the damage has already been done, and the world is reaping the fruit of the church's lack of engagement. Yes, Jesus is coming back, but no one knows the day or the hour. The church must find the balance between living as if there's no tomorrow while still living as if you have your whole life ahead of you. If we don't seize the opportunity of influence and stake our flag in new territory first, then the enemy will beat us to it. I want to read a couple of quotes to you by a very influential person from the 1960s, just after television started to be mass produced and consumed all over the world. I have to warn you, what this person said is a little unsettling, but it truly does expose the agenda of the enemy and the potential he saw in the television all the way back in the 60s. It says, "Many of you already read my writings, indicating that TV is the new God. There is a little thing I neglected to mention up until now. Television is the major mainstream infiltration for the new satanic religion. There are television sets in every home, every restaurant, every hotel room, every shopping mall. Now they're even small enough to carry in your pocket like electronic rosaries. It is an unquestioned part of everyday life. Kneeling before the cathode ray god with our TV guide concordance in hand, we maintain the illusion of choice by flipping channels. It doesn't matter what is flashing on the screen. All that's important is that the TV stays on. It doesn't matter what is flashing on the screen. All that's important is that the TV stays on." This quote is from Anton LaVey, the head of the Church of Satan, the man who founded the Church of Satan. He said these things about the television over 60 years ago before he died. So all the way back then, Satan saw the potential to influence the masses through this growing technology. Less than 5 decades later, we see Steve Jobs and the invention of the smartphone, the portable TV that follows you wherever you go and you can watch it any time, any place. Although there is a little known fact about what exactly inspired Steve Jobs to create Apple and the iPhone in the first place. But after I show you this clip, which is kind of getting into conspiracies, but it does open your mind a little, so maybe you can do some research for yourself and connect the dots.
Steve Jobs and his team of engineers at Apple harnessed technology that connected society digitally and put all the world's knowledge, literally, at mankind's fingertips. But the seeds of this technological revolution were planted in 1973, when the 19-year-old college student dropped out of school. Jobs was attending Reed College in Portland, Oregon, when he, along with one of Apple's first employees, Daniel Kotke, made a decision that would change not only the course of their lives, but ultimately the course of humanity. Fueled by his desire to find spiritual enlightenment, Steve Jobs traveled to India, with Daniel following a few months later. Together, they discovered a Hindu guru known as Haidakan Baba.
He was discovered at about the age of 18 doing yoga in a cave. But there are legends going back that the same figure had appeared all the way back into the 1800s.
Haidakan Baba claimed that he had no mother or father. But who was this character who had no known history before the age of 18 and was said to have manifested out of thin air? He professed that he was an immortal being.
Steve Jobs did spend some time with him. Haidakan Baba actually gave him an initiation by giving him a spiritual name. This is a traditional kind of initiation. So they were formally initiated by this guru.
Babaji had said that he was a celestial being who would come to Earth to help enlighten our planet and to advance us forward.
So it almost seems as if Satan saw the potential of the TV back in the 60s and then said, okay, it's not enough for them to just have screens in their houses. It needs to be in front of their eyes 24/7 wherever they go. And whoever controls what is flashing on the screens controls the mind of the population. And so back in the 70s, there was a seed planted in Steve Jobs by this mysterious figure. I think we know who he was working for, and it came to fruition less than 40 years later with a smartphone. Then Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook, has come out and said that he was also encouraged by Steve Jobs to go to India, go to the same place where Steve Jobs went, to seek enlightenment and inspiration before Facebook exploded into what it is today.
You know, India is personally very important to the history of our company here. This is a story that I haven't told publicly and very few people know, but early on in our history, before things were really going well and we had hit a tough patch and a lot of people wanted to buy Facebook and thought we should sell the company, I went and I saw one of my mentors, Steve Jobs, and he told me that in order to reconnect with what I believed as the mission of the company, I should visit this temple that he had gone to in India early on in his evolution of thinking about what he wanted Apple and his vision of the future to be. Having the opportunity to feel how much better the world could be if everyone had a stronger ability to connect reinforced for me the importance of what we were doing, and that is something that I've always remembered.
Some of us see these innovative people create these revolutions in technology and think, well, they're just smart people. But we have to ask the question, what originally influenced these people to put their companies in full throttle and create these products that would change the course of humanity? What motivated them in the first place, and what was going on behind the scenes that no one knew about? You may say, well, you're getting into conspiracy theories now, but everything that's happening now was a conspiracy theory 10 years ago. So the church has got to be vigilant and open-minded to the truth, whatever that may be. In previous centuries, the church was the great controller, dictating morality, stifling free expression, and posing as conservator of all great art and music. Instead, we have TV, doing just as good a job at dictating fashions, thoughts, attitudes, objectives as did the church, using many of the same techniques, but doing it so palatably that no one notices, doing it in a way that no one notices. Society has been slow cooked and brainwashed for the past 100 years. And it's because the church has been watching the screens rather than influencing what's being displayed on the screens. The church used to have a major influence on society, but the enemy has rocked us to sleep, hence the term, the sleeping giant. But like I said, this is not a shame on you message, this is an exposing message, and there is good news. The message of hope is that God is pouring out His Spirit on all flesh, and there is a remnant of people that are waking up to the mass deception. There is a unique and creative generation rising up that is unintimidated by the world system and is preparing to re-infiltrate the digital realm and areas of mass influence that the enemy has stolen. Over the next decade, you can be a part of this move to dominate the entertainment industry, the music industry, social media, news media, and more, to create content for the kingdom, to preach the gospel of the kingdom to all the nations. The church doesn't have forever, so if you don't want to miss out on this opportunity as the church did previously, then don't. Seize the opportunity this decade because the chance may not come again. There are going to be more technologies that are going to come this century, and the church must jump on the opportunity to stake its flag in new territories before the enemy does. If we don't influence the images people see, then the enemy will. Yes, Satan has executed a wicked strategy over the years, but the Lord has His own strategy, only it's far more brilliant. And we know that the Lord's strategy has the ultimate victory. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it opened your eyes to some things. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Lots of ideas coming for the rest of 2021, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon back in the Sanctum.